Hi, my name is Matthew Andrade, and my friend Nadine here has asked me to talk about why I feel that God is actually real, and why I feel like I have enough evidence that I don't need to question it each day whether or not the existence of God is real. And so today is November 2012, and I'm going to be sharing with you specifically a couple experiences that happened in 2006. So for quite some time, for over 10 years, I wasn't really decided on whether or not God was real, and kind of emotionally felt that possibly there was room for God, and then rationally I thought like Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, Tooth Fairy probably wasn't real. And I actually found myself on a journey to British Columbia, and along this road trip I decided that I wanted to know for sure whether or not God was real. And to me it was a matter of if you're willing to be a fence sitter, then not much of anything gets done, because you're unwilling to commit to one thing or the other because you're being stretched in two different directions. Whereas if you know for sure God isn't real, or decide that God isn't real and choose to be atheist, or know for sure God is real and choose to pursue God during your life, then you can actually have some kind of direction, and I didn't feel like being aimless anymore. So the first, I think, turning point experience was I finally got to BC, and I was trying to put together some sort of a test to find out whether or not God was real. And so I decided to ask whoever this creator of the universe was, if they were mighty enough to create me and everything that I have ever understood in my life, in fact, everything that makes me alive, then certainly they were mighty enough that they could make the buzzer of my apartment in British Columbia ring. I didn't think this was weird. To me it seemed completely reasonable to think that they could cause an electrical circuit to go off, or give someone a flat tire and happen to buzz my buzzer number downstairs. Whatever, it didn't matter to me the how, I just wanted some evidence. So I decided to keep a journal while this happened, because I knew my own personal nature, and I knew that even if I got evidence, that later on I might question it and boil it down to circumstance. So I thought perhaps if I keep a journal of this experience, later on when I needed reminding whether or not God was real, I could say, no, I did it, it was a real test, and it came back positive or negative. And by the way, as I'm telling you these stories, I don't expect you to believe because of what convicted me. I really feel like you should believe for your own experienced reasons. And I think that that if you pursue God long enough, that you'll find out He's real, that He'll find a way not to leave you there earnestly waiting to find out if He's real. And I think then you can use your own experiences to convict yourself rather than my experience. But to initiate that process and to get you interested and curious, that's why I'm willing to divulge my own experience. But it might not be the evidence you need, and that's okay. So I'm writing down this journal and waiting for my buzzer to ring. And one thing I realized was that I wasn't actually prepared for the buzzer to ring. I realized that if my buzzer did ring, I was still wearing my pajamas, I didn't have shoes on, didn't have socks on. And so I felt like if I was serious, if I really wanted to know, then I should act the part as well. So I got dressed. I ended up making a whole plate of food as well, because I figured, well, what if the buzzer rings because someone's car broke down and they buzz my buzzer? Maybe they're going to be hungry, it's dinner time. So I made food for me and them, and got all prepared and ready to go. And I made this documented evidence every 15 minutes for a few hours. I gave God a time limit. And then I gave him a little extra time, and for some reason my buzzer didn't ring. Curiously enough though, I didn't feel like, oh, this is it, this is over, I'm not doing another experiment. I actually for some reason remained a bit hopeful, and later on continued to try to pursue and find out whether God was real. So at this point I'll tell you about the next big experience that happened after that really convicted me, which was I had asked a few people that believed in God, a few different religious types of people, and they said, well, if you want to know God's real, why don't you try talking to him? So I did. I lied down, and I was like, God, or is it Jehovah, or is it Allah, or is it Jesus? And I just admitted in frustration that I didn't even know who I was talking to, that why should I pray or try praying to a Christian God just because maybe Christians were more fanatical, or a Jewish God, or a Hebrew. You know what I mean? I didn't know. I didn't know. How would anyone know, right? That's where I was feeling like, how do you know that Christians have it wrong, or that Jews have it right, or the other way around? How do you know? Unless you get it directly from God. And I really wanted an introduction. So I just said, God, I don't even know who I am talking to. I don't even know if you exist. So whoever it is that created the universe and my life and is responsible for everything I've understood, can you at least just give me a name, something so I know how to call you? And I don't want to call you what I've heard other people call you, because it doesn't mean anything. It's just my memory that that's what someone else called you. Anyway, I don't know if that makes sense to you, but it does to me. And I guess from that previous experience, again, I felt convicted that if you're really serious, then maybe you should be ready for an answer. Now, I gotta tell you, like, the moment I asked the Creator to give me his name, right, or her name, it was really weird. My mind started going, yeah, well, right, what do you expect to happen? Some, like, finger from the heavens, the clouds part, and my name is Bob. That's honestly what went through my head, and it made me laugh, and then I kind of tried to get rid of that a little bit. I tried to throw that out a little bit, because I was like, no, I really am serious, and if that's what he's going to do, then fine. It doesn't matter how he does it to me. I just really want to know who I'm talking to. And so I turned off the fan so it stopped distracting me with the noise, and I turned off the light, and literally within a few moments, I just pictured in my mind 2 capital letter E's. Even if your eyes aren't closed, if I tell you right now just to picture 2 capital letter E's in your mind, you can. And for me, they happen to be like a greeny blue color, whatever, doesn't matter. It wasn't supernatural. It was just, for some reason, this is what came to mind. And then after that, an L came and joined them. It was kind of like Sesame Street with the 2-headed monster, and they try to sound out a word and it slowly moves closer and closer together. I'm not the best at spellers, and it made me nervous, so I decided to reach for a pen. And as I'm reaching for the pen to write it down, I sort of see and read the whole word in my head at the same time. E-L-S, capitals, E-E-L-I-S, and our cameraman has that written down just in case you want to see it. And so I felt really awkward about this. I tried to pray afterwards, and I was like, okay, E-L-S, creator of the universe, what should we talk about? And I didn't know what to say. And then I felt like, well, if I'm willing to say that possibly God is real, then possibly evil's real. And I didn't know, maybe there was something in my room, a ghost or something, that maybe decided it would be a funny joke to give me his name. So I just thought, I'll wait till tomorrow and I'll look it up on Google, which I did. And at that time, the very first entry on a Google search was a website called The History of Names. I think it's called, it's not actually called The History of Names, but it's not on my laptop, so I turned it off. It's called Behind the Name. I think it's called Behind the Name. But if you search it, you'll find it. Just search capitals E-E-L-I-S or The History of Names or BehindTheName.com. I'm sorry, I don't have that exact for you, and we might be out of time. So we'll have to carry forward in another... No, you want me to wrap it up. Anyways, it's a Finnish word from Hebrew. It's translated from the Hebrew word, which means, my God is Yahweh, which is a name I was familiar with. It's the same name that comes up in the Bible. And in fact, many other people have asked God what his name is. I was unawares to this when I asked, but everyone that biblically has asked for God's name, He's given the same name. I am what is and was and always will be, which is what the word Yahweh means. And yeah, pretty cool. So that was enough for me. There's no way I feel like I could have made up a 5-letter word that happened to really mean the name of God. And that's that.
Cool. Good.